I'm going to talk to you this morning about the way you look. Now, I've heard it said that we women attach too much importance to our appearance, but that isn't true. After all, the way we look exerts so much influence on the way we feel and on the way other people feel about us that it really is very important. When I talk about good appearance or good grooming or looking your best, you probably think immediately of clothes or hairstyle or makeup. Well, I realize that those things are especially interesting to you, and they are important, and I am going to talk about them. But please remember that they are just really the trimmings. Just like the icing on the cake. If the icing is very good, well, that's fine. But if the cake itself isn't good, you'll soon lose interest in the icing. So let's start with the cake and come back to the trimmings later. Basically, of course, good health and intelligent physical care are the foundations of all beauty. We all want a lovely skin, shining eyes, a beautiful smile, and loads of pep. But we can't have them except in a healthy, clean body. And I mean clean. Remember, you can't have good looks without soap and water. There's no substitute for the daily bath as a groundwork for glamour. Brilliant teeth need brushing. Gleaming hair means frequent and thorough shampooing. And keep that air of freshness by using a deodorant regularly. It's a shortcut to Social Security. Sleep comes next to cleanliness as a beauty base. And I mean sleep, not just going to bed if that means sitting up writing letters or listening to music. I've seen lots of sparkling eyes and good complexion sacrificed to swing records at bedtime. Mind you, I'm all for music in its place. But there is a lot of sound sense in that old expression, beauty sleep. So snap out that light early enough every night to get 8 or 9 hours of this most effective beauty treatment. And then there's this business of eating. It worries me to see that so many girls think a balanced diet consists of soda pop and a sandwich or a big gooey sundae. Let's remember what we were taught in home economics about a well-balanced diet. Meat, cheese, eggs or fish, milk, butter, bread, fresh fruits, especially citrus fruits, green and starchy vegetables in proper proportion, and of course some sweets. And please go easy on fried foods. Beautiful skin, vitality, glossy hair, all the things you want begin with a balanced diet. So watch it, girls. It pays big dividends. Then there's exercise, preferably outdoors. Now, when I say exercise, many of you may think of work. Well, a little work is a helpful beauty hint, but so is outdoor play. I'll leave it to your own conscience whether you work in the garden, ride a bike, play ball, hike, swim, or ski. But try to spend some time every day outdoors, developing the grace that comes from toned-up muscles and the complexion that goes with good circulation. And even the ordinary things that you do every day can help to make you more graceful. But not if you do them like this. Walking upstairs, reaching up to a high shelf, dusting, all can be good body conditioning if you use your muscles to do them vigorously instead of slouching through them.
I'd like to speak to you, please, Miss Stuyvesant.
Oh, go right ahead. I want you girls to ask me questions.
Well, I guess I have what you called a round face, and I wear my hair the way you said I shouldn't. But I don't see how things like that and posture and mannerisms and the other things will make a girl more popular if she's not pretty to begin with.
Sometimes I'd like to shake you girls when you worry so much about being pretty or not being pretty, as though prettiness were a woman's only attraction. If you'd spend just 1 month doing everything I talked about to make the most of your appearance, you wouldn't need to worry about being pretty or popular. I wish that I could wave a magic wand to show you what the difference would be. Presto, like that. Why, it does work. You will be prettier. You will be more popular.
That's all.
Hey, Jerry, there's that new girl in our math class.
Oh, yes. Her name's Carolyn Ames. She's a swell kid.
Why? Do you know her?
Not very well. I wish I did.
Yeah, especially when you compare it with some of the weird characters in this place.
Yoo-hoo!
Nothing like being Miss Popularity.
Yeah.
Meow, meow.
Okay, Ellie. Now there's the girl that'd really get my vote.
Let's ask her over, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Ellie.
Why not?
Oh, hi, Ellie. Do you want some? No, thanks. But won't you come and sit with us? Oh, I'd love to, but you're almost finished. So what? We'll be there till the bell rings. I guess you know everybody, don't you, Carolyn?
Hi.
Well, I've seen you around. I don't get you, Richards. Carolyn Ames. Betty's the lead in our class play. Oh, yes, growing pains. I looked in on your rehearsal yesterday. We're all in on it in one way or another. I'm on the costume committee.
And Jerry and I are stagehands.
Two among a dozen or so.
How about you, Wally? Where do you fit in all this?
Oh, I'm a one-man team that does a job with no glory attached. I gather the props together, and boy, what a headache.
You sound like you need a helper. Could I lend a hand?
Would you? I mean, would you really?
Sure, I'd like it. I don't know anything about props, but I could learn. Well, I need some help too, Carolyn.
Hey, lay off. I saw her first. Say, we ought to get together and talk over those props a little. Could you meet me backstage at 3:15?
Oh, that'd be fine, Wally. See you at rehearsal.
I think maybe I'll take Carolyn to the dance Saturday night.
Well, better go ahead and ask her. We could work out a double date.
Saturday's soon enough.
Hello. Oh, hello, Wally.
I was wondering if you'd like to go to the Strand to see a movie Saturday night, and then go over to Teen Town, maybe.
Well, yes, I...
Or if you'd rather go with the gang on a skating party and weenie roast. We'd have to leave earlier for that, though. But we get home at a decent time.
Oh, the skating sounds like loads of fun.
Wally has used a lot of common sense in putting the invitation this way. It shows he has thought about what Carolyn might like, and he has implied his price range, so she will have some idea of what he can afford when she makes her choice. Carolyn likes it better this way, too. It's doing the girl no favor to leave it entirely up to her. It puts her on a spot.
All right, Wally. On Saturday at 5 then. Bye.
Well, that phone call didn't go on for hours. A pretty adult attitude toward telephone conversations. Carolyn keeps a date calendar. Not a bad idea. She'll never have the embarrassment of forgetting a date or of being all ready an hour too late. That's a good note to write yourself. Any night. But especially when you're getting ready for a date.
There. You too can do a manicure, Ellie. I might even know what to wear it with tonight if I only knew if Bill's dug up transportation to the dance. You sure he knew to phone you here at my house? I told him 3 times. I'll have to be getting home to dinner pretty soon. Take my advice. Think twice before you start going steady. Don't you ever go out with anyone else at all? Nope. Well, don't you ever want to? On nights like this, I do. I never know what he's planned. He just says, well, you decide, Ellie. I should think you'd run out of ideas. Well, I'm getting to that point. Hello? Oh, hello, Jerry. Oh, the props are coming along all right.
That's good. Hey, Carolyn, how about a date?
Well, I don't know, Jerry. When did you have in mind?
Well, what are you doing tonight?
I'm awfully sorry, but I have a date for tonight, Jerry. Tomorrow? No, I'm sorry. Well, call me early next week, Jerry.
Okay, Carolyn. Thanks a lot just the same. Goodbye.
Can you imagine that, Ellie? He wanted a date for tonight.
Sounds like you're asking her so late went over like a lead balloon, brother.
Maybe so.
Hello, Wally. Come on in.
Hello yourself. Gee, look at you, all ready and right on time, too. That's a good deal.
Thanks. Mother, are you busy? I'd like you to meet my father. Dad, this is Wally Johnson.
Well, hello, Wally. Do you do, Mr. Ames?
Here I am, darling. And I suppose this is Wally.
That's right, Mrs. Ames. How do you do?
Well, it's nice meeting you. Oh, excuse me a second. I forgot my scarf. I'll be right back.
Don't let me interrupt your eating, Mr. Ames.
Thanks, Wally. I was just looking into the world of events before we go to dinner.
I tricked him into taking me out tonight. I understand you're having a little trouble with the props for the play.
Oh, not too many now. Much as I hate to admit it, though, Carolyn has hunted down a lot of things that we couldn't find anyplace.
Here I am, all set. Oh, Carolyn, I made some brownies today. Maybe you and Wally would like some when you get back. There's some milk in the icebox, too, isn't there? How does that sound?
Gee, that sounds good. We'll take you up on it, Mrs. Ames. Thanks.
That is a good idea. Nothing is more casual and more fun than raiding the icebox after a date. And it doesn't cost anybody a lot of money either.
Folks know when we'll be home?
We'll be home before 11, Mother.
Wally used his head, and Carolyn's family can relax because she has told them they can count on her being home at some definite time.
Nice boy. I like him.
Yes, I do, too.
Carolyn and Wally are on their way to a good time this evening, and to lots of good times, with each other and with their crowd at school, because they're friendly, they're interested in other people, and they're considerate of the other fellow, because they know what it takes to be popular.
That's all.
My boudoir will be done in rose-colored satin, or maybe coral with silver trim. And the doors of my wardrobe will be of glass, so that while I'm having my breakfast in bed, I can decide which one of my beautiful gowns I'll wear that evening. My maid will have to be French. I'll bring her from Paris when I get my gowns. That way I can be sure of looking so radiantly beautiful that my husband can't help being as proud of me as I am of him. My husband will be tall and strong and slim, with flashing eyes and wavy black hair.
Look out. Here she goes. She's going to have that cake.
And to the surprises. What he means is to a life full of happy surprises.
You bet none of those smart alecks broke in here to play another trick.
Well, what we can do is straighten things up. You get the pans down and I'll get
Oh,
everything to-
Molly, tonight it's awfully late.
This picture is on dating, the etiquette of dating. We are going to follow some of these students as they go on a date and see if their manners have anything to do with their fun. Everyone thinks that his own manners are all right, even if they aren't perfect, and that being correct only helps to spoil fun. Let us compare what these students do and don't do with what we think is right. Let's compare ourselves with Margaret, or with Helen, or with two fellows who are particularly interested in them. The junior prom, a semi-formal, is the best dance of the year and is announced early. Jerry is the shorter of the two. He believes that he who hesitates lost, and the time to ask for a date is now. Margaret, for her part, believes that a girl shouldn't make it difficult for a fellow to ask for a date. Fear of not being asked, or fear of being refused, can ruin our social lives if we let them. How do you act? Natural, at ease, graciously? Or are you shy? Like Frank, do you blurt out invitations? Actually, Helen is glad to receive the invitation, and Frank is surprised. Getting dates is not hard if one will act with a bit of courage and show himself to be sincere. A week before the prom, Jerry asks Margaret to help Frank by finding out what Helen intends to wear to the dance. But Frank isn't thinking far enough ahead to realize that he will soon be selecting a corsage for Helen, and that the corsage should harmonize the color of the dress to be worn. He should also find out the type of corsage she prefers. So Jerry steers Margaret into a discussion of corsages. She recalls the ones she likes best: gardenias, spring flowers, an orchid once, camellias. She and Jerry have been dating for a long while. She appreciates the good taste he has shown in choosing flowers that suited her dress and complexion. The wearing of flowers on the wrist, the shoulder, or in the hair is a matter of preference. When Frank finally asks Helen about her preferences, she is glad to tell him that she likes all types of corsages and all flowers except gardenias. All the other preparations for their double date are also talked over. The night of the prom, Frank is glad that the dance is semi-formal and that the wearing tuxedo is optional. But even with a dark business suit, so Jerry insists, the color of the tie should be conservative. The socks should match the tie, not clash with it. We dress according to the occasion. A dignified occasion requires dignified clothes. As a matter of convention, men wear dark clothing at formal or semi-formal affairs. Thus, perhaps they allow the ladies, by contrast, to be more colorful in their dress. This tie may not seem conservative by your standards, but it seems to be the mildest that Frank owns. Perhaps for the next dance he will buy a quieter pattern, something that won't compete with the colors he expects the girl to be wearing. In that sense, he will be showing consideration for her, a gesture of friendliness. And that is what etiquette really is, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. Correctness in dress, like other matters of etiquette, is something which has to be learned. One needs to check on himself and inquire from those who know what is correct. Of course, women usually receive more training than men in the etiquette of dress because of its importance to their appearing always to best advantage. But girls have their problems just as fellows do, and what they think is in good taste may not be. Naturally, everyone thinks that what he or she likes should be considered correct. But most girls are inclined to overdress. Even the word of parents is not always accepted. Mother is called old-fashioned. But Margaret will take Helen's word for it that she is wearing too many ornaments. Simplicity is always the safest policy in ornamentation. Correctness of dress for an occasion includes not only the choice of gown and slippers, but the hairdo and the accessories, the jewelry, and, yes, the face makeup. The rules are simple, logical, and easy to remember, and they are very important. Frank doesn't look happy, and he isn't. But how much of his fearfulness is actually a lack of confidence in his manners? Whether he admits it to himself or not, his unsureness is painful and is already interfering with his enjoyment of the date. His wanting to blow the horn for Helen instead of going into the house to meet parents and to escort her out is really not shyness, but a sign that his manners are weak. He hasn't taken the trouble to learn how to meet people easily. Helen tries to introduce him first to her mother, who has risen to shake hands with him. Ladies are always introduced first, and they may offer to shake hands or not as circumstances warrant. Frank forgot that he should present the corsage to Helen at home, so that she may put it on there if she prefers, rather than carrying it to the dance. Notice that Jerry acknowledges the introduction to Helen's mother with a nod, since she elected to remain seated and did not offer to shake hands. Frank shouldn't open the corsage box, but allow Helen that pleasure. Since Helen does not wish to put the flower on now, Frank should take care of it and see that it is not damaged. But give him credit for assisting Helen with her wrap. Helen's parents are glad to have met the boys with whom she is going out. And on the boys' part, meeting the parents is a minimal courtesy as well as a pleasure. Good manners never interfere with fun. They should be habits. And habits of correctness are just as easy to learn as bad habits. Correctness has the real advantage of allowing one always to be at ease. Jerry has been here often and is right at home. However, the ease with which he enters into a conversation is based on his genuine interest in other people and what they are thinking. Meanwhile, Frank is laboring to interest Helen in what is his, not her, chief interest. Sports. Margaret is careful not to keep Jerry waiting. She doesn't believe that keeping a fellow waiting a long time will allow her a more dramatic entrance and thus increase his interest. Rightly, she depends on the charm of her personality to hold his attention, not upon little games. So that Jerry feels he is dealing with her true self at all times. The phone call is from one of those fellows who wait until the very last minute to try making a date. Jerry can laugh at his would-be competitor. Margaret is gracious, of course, but brief. There is no excuse for last-minute requests for a date. No girl is flattered at the idea that she hadn't already received an invitation. Besides, a lot of the fun in dating is in the anticipation. And right now, they are well along in their fun. But Frank and Margaret have problems with conversation. Margaret has tried to talk about the dates she has had with other fellows. She meant only to be entertaining, but such topics irritate rather than interest. Perhaps, she and Frank hope, the dance will furnish better topics. Now they have arrived, and all the fun they hoped for lies ahead. Dances are intended for enjoyment, and the rules of etiquette which apply to dances are, again, customs which have grown out of one person's anticipating the wishes and feelings of others. A gentleman doesn't dash off just because he sees a friend and wants to say hello. He waits as his lady removes her wrap. He allows her time to pin on her corsage and powder a bit if she wishes. He saves her any feeling of being deserted or of possible embarrassment in entering the dance unescorted. Ladies expect such courtesies, just as they enjoy the thoughtfulness shown in presenting them with a well-chosen corsage or enjoy being properly escorted. In meeting their hosts and hostesses, Margaret isn't always as aware as she should be of Jerry's attempts to escort her smoothly. And if Frank realized that his awkwardness, in contrast to Jerry, is due to his not being sure about introductions, he would learn the simple rules in a hurry. Introduce a man to a woman, to an older woman, a younger man to an older man. The name of the person to whom deference is shown is always mentioned first. The person who is to be introduced waits until the introduction is made, and then waits for the other to offer his hand. Only a few friendly remarks are made. After greeting the sponsors, the first thing that Jerry sees to is that they select a rendezvous so that they will have a definite place during the evening for meeting after dances. Then they begin filling in their dance programs. When programs are filled out in advance, and then one or two couples don't attend after having exchanged dances, the programs are left with gaps that are hard to fill. So it is perhaps to wait until dances can be exchanged friends who are present. Then the dances that have been promised can be written in. The purpose of the program is not to exclude others, but the opposite, to plan for exchanging as many dances as possible. In that way, everyone dances with his friends and makes new friends. It is not a mark of affection for a couple to try dancing the entire evening by themselves. For after a while, they tire of their exclusiveness, and then each one fears to hurt the other's feelings by wanting to dance with someone else. It is customary, though, for a couple to reserve for themselves the first and last dance. Frank forgets it and has to be straightened out. But now that they have gotten to dancing, let's hope that their troubles are over and that the evening will work out the way they have hoped. However, let us watch to see if their enjoyment depends in part at least on their manners. All that they ask is that they be allowed to talk and to dance, to be with their friends, and enjoy each other's company. Frank, relax, be natural, talk. Margaret, you're going yatata, yatata, yatata. No, Frank, hold the cup yourself as you fill it, then present it. Getting jealous? They're only enjoying themselves. Keep trying, Frank. Be sensible, Margaret. Frank, you're wrong. She hasn't lost interest in you. It's foolish to be jealous. It's your own fun you're spoiling. As the dance is drawing to a close, and it is time to say goodnight to the sponsors, everyone seems to have had a good time, except Frank. The dancing hasn't worked out as he and Margaret hoped, but Jerry and Helen are at fault too. They have allowed Frank and Margaret to become jealous. Of course, they aren't justified. Margaret made the mistake of trying to be too entertaining. Frank allowed his fears to make him wooden. People never like to blame themselves, so they blame others. All that either needs to do is to learn how to be natural and talk of what is interesting to the other person as well as to himself. Meanwhile, a good deal of the fun has gone out of the evening. Even though Margaret pretends that nothing has happened and all is well. Naturally, we all learn through experience, but that is usually the long and the hard way. Being hurt so often, if we realize that our social lives are filled with problems of etiquette, and that these must be studied. We must observe our own behavior, compare it with what is proper, and be certain that our habits are correct. Jerry's example in suggesting to Margaret a dish that she might like is one that Frank might follow. As he finally realizes, since it tells Helen in a nice way how much he can afford to spend. This saves embarrassment all around. At last, Jerry is becoming aware that Frank and Margaret are not having a good time. He doesn't ignore the situation, but brings the problem out into the open. Margaret and Frank are forced to admit their own foolishness. After all, Helen and Jerry had simply been at ease during the dance and enjoyed themselves. They hadn't been any the less interested in their partners. There was absolutely no reason for jealousy. You notice that Frank is becoming more alert. He orders for Helen correctly. And maybe we can that he has decided to turn over a new leaf. This way is more fun. The meal has been happy, and now that the mistakes that have been discovered won't be repeated, and those that haven't yet been discovered will come to light as they pay more attention to their manners. But already they have learned some valuable lessons, Frank particularly. He has learned to begin with that he shouldn't let his fears stop him from asking for the date in the first place, and that he should ask right away, not fret about it. He is glad now that he learned a little more about selecting a corsage and about how he should dress. He has still to learn how to be easy during introductions and in making ordinary conversations. But you saw that he was quick to pay the bill, including a 10% tip, and that he found it pleasant to help Helen with her wrap. On the way home, there are no problems. They are happy in knowing that this is just the beginning of happy times ahead. Jerry not only sees Margaret home, but opens the door for her. And then, well, they've been going steady for some time now, and there are some customs that are very enjoyable. But now Frank has a new problem should he try on a first date. He makes certain that he helps Helen from the car correctly. She waited properly for him to come around the car. He sees her to her door and thanks her for having gone out with him. And he remembers to open the door for her. No, he should not try to kiss her goodnight on a first date. But he does ask her for another date soon. Helen is quite happy to accept, so their first date is a definite success. Our ending is only a beginning of other dates to follow, of a new attitude toward manners.
The girl thinks ahead, too, with all the excitement and enthusiasm that only a prom can bring. The dress gets a second look at home, and the dream of a big evening is well on its way. Naturally, her closest friend gets all the details, down to the last scene. And the color, Linda, is just perfect. It's a delicate pale yellow with tiny daisies scattered on the skirt and across the top.
Oh, it sounds neat.
Well, yours sounds great, too. I can hardly wait to see it. How do you like it?
You're a lovely young lady.
Oh, thanks, Daddy. Oh, the glamour and excitement of a new formal is shared, first of all, with the family. Just little things, but they do make a big difference. The girl shows her thoughtfulness by being ready on time. The boy arrives on time so the girl's dress doesn't go limp while she sits around waiting. He takes a few moments for small talk to give her parents a chance to size up the fellow who's taking their daughter out. And naturally, she shows up before he runs out of conversation.
Hi. Dick, your flowers are just beautiful. They're perfect with my dress.
Well, I have to admit, I had a little help.
They are lovely, Dick.
Aren't
they? Dear, you just look beautiful. Oh, thank you.
Say, if you two don't want to be late, you better be on your way.
All right. Good night, Mom. Good night, Dad.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night.
Dick, have a nice time.
Oh, we will. See you later. Good night, Dick.
Good night.
And have fun.
So with ease, the big evening begins.
How do you do? I'm Dick Carter. This is Mary Moore.
Hi, I'm very glad to meet you. How do you do, sir? Nice.
After meeting the first person in the receiving line, they exchange greetings with each chaperone.
I'm so glad to know you. Hi, Mrs. Bell.
From now on, dancing and fun are one and the same thing for the boy and girl, and the couples usually exchange dances within their own group. The boy fills out the girl's dance program. Of course, he takes the first and last dance and also writes in 4 others, leaving 1 dance each for Jack, Tom, Lee, and Ed. The program is a way of keeping dances straight and also gives the couples a chance to dance with each other. When the dance ends, Lee applauds the orchestra. Judy chooses not to. Either way is correct.
Very much for the dance.
It was fun.
Let's see what this
Lee escorts Judy off the dance floor so that she's not stranded.
He leaves her with her next partner, our friends. Another dance begins, and Tom's ready to claim a program partner.
Hi, Mary Brandon. It's our dance.
Right. Say, isn't that band great?
Sure is.
When Jack asks for a non-program dance, he has a special way of asking.
Look mighty pretty tonight.
Thank you.
Can I have the next dance, please?
I'd love to.
Didn't I see you in
Smooth, isn't he? He doesn't embarrass her by asking if this dance is taken, which might imply that she hasn't been asked. Anyone for intermission? Everyone, of course. Couples who usually keep their group very small find that widening their circle, sharing the intermission with others, makes the evening more fun for everybody. This is it, the last dance, the one the girl saves for her favorite fellow. Linda for Jack, and Judy for Lee. June for Tom, Robin for Ed. Now it's time to say goodnight to the chaperones. But prom night isn't over. Whether it's a snack on the way home or a more formal buffet at Jack's house, the evening continues in the same way, with graciousness, consideration, and fun.
Prom was great.
It sure was. I had a wonderful time.
I had a great time, too. I think it was because of you.
That's all.
There go the Millers again. Off for another day at Crystal Lake.
We're always having good times together.
Wish my family were like that. We never do anything. Never have the time.
Neither do we.
You know, so many people are asking how the Millers manage to have so much fun as a family.
What's the answer? Is it money?
Or is it magic?
Neither. It's something they worked out together when they woke up to the fact that they wanted their family life to be fun.
Who doesn't?
But how did they work it out?
To understand, let's go back several months. Eavesdrop on the Millers one Friday evening before they got wise to themselves.
Mother, you promised to have dinner ready at 6 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Catherine. I just didn't finish my other work in time.
Oh, well. Dad's not home yet anyway. Nobody seems to care that I have a date at 7 o'clock.
You can still make it, dear. I'll do the dishes alone.
But you and Dad are going to the movies.
I'm too tired. I did all the washing today, and I cleaned your room, too. It really needs...
I meant to come home and clean it, Mother. But after school, there was a meeting.
Mother! I can't wear these slacks tonight. You said you'd press them.
I know, Harold, but I just didn't...
Why don't you press them yourself?
Say, where's my racket?
In my closet. I broke it. I meant to tell you.
You broke it? And me with an important match tomorrow. Why didn't you get it fixed?
Where would I get the money?
Money? Mother, I need a couple of dollars to take Mary out tonight.
I haven't any money, Harold. But you might have when he comes home.
Fine thing. Dinner late, tennis racket broken, no money for date, and no pants to wear. If this only were a business, We go bankrupt, but fast.
That night, Mrs. Miller was thinking about what Harold said.
If this family were a business, in a way, we are a business. We have money to handle, just as a business has. Yet we never make it last from one payday to the next. But that's not all we can't seem to manage. Isn't there a better way to manage ourselves? Wouldn't we all be happier if we worked out a little system for living together in harmony? It's worth a try. I've called this first meeting of the Miller family to propose that we try to establish a definite program for managing our home so that we'll all get more out of it. More fun, more leisure, and more harmony.
I'm certainly in favor of those things. Harmony, leisure, fun.
Who isn't?
But how can we manage them?
We'll have to work out the full answer together. But for a start, I've made a list of points that will guide us. 1, schedule. 2, responsibilities. 3, privileges. And 4, finances.
Sounds impressive.
What do they mean?
How do they work?
Well, remember last Friday evening? It was nothing special. We've had plenty of differences just like it. I caused a good part of the trouble by not having dinner on time. We need to make a definite schedule and stick to it so we can all make plans accordingly.
I can be more careful about coming home in time for dinner or phoning when I'm going to be late.
Yes, but then I didn't have dinner ready, so
Because you took time to clean my room. That's something I should have done.
Well, that's my
point. Privileges.
Well, responsibilities and privileges always go together. If we accept responsibilities, then we acquire certain privileges.
Such as?
Well, such as... I can think of one. Privilege of having your private rights respected. Such as having someone ask your permission when she wants to borrow your tennis racket.
That's the general idea. Now, my 4th point is finances.
Yes, where are we going to get more money?
We don't.
You mean a budget?
Well, if we were a business, wouldn't we have a plan for spending our money?
That does it.
Well, I'd like to suggest that we adjourn for now and all give this some serious thought, and then get together for another meeting next Monday after dinner to discuss a plan for spending and all these other matters.
Good idea. I'd like to have these family meetings every week.
After we've worked this out, later on we can check up on how we're doing.
Well, it looks as though I really started something.
Say, Mom, you're swell.
That's how the Millers came to manage their home, so it would be more fun.
Does it really work?
These guides to home management, can my family use them?
Well, let me give you a few clues. Take the matter of schedule. Here's a breakfast scene at the Millers. Quiet, easy. By following a practical morning schedule, they're all ready in time for school and work. And in the evening, Mother has plenty of pep left to entertain friends. Because by scheduling the work she does each day, she saves herself from doing too much. And when seasonal jobs are scheduled, Harold is glad to help his father. It doesn't happen that he has other important plans for the day. Of course, this is also a matter of responsibilities, which are divided up according to individual abilities and interests. Besides doing assigned jobs and caring for his own clothes and belongings, each is responsible for being considerate of the others. For instance, putting things back where others expect to find them. With responsibilities go privileges. Although the strength of the family lies in unity, each member has individual rights. The right to open his own mail, the right of privacy, to work alone, undisturbed by loud noises in the house, or by unwanted visitors, and the right to have opinions respected. This privilege the Millers protect in their family council meetings. Let's listen now for a few pointers on the fourth guide to home management, finances.
As you know, our financial position has greatly improved during the 6 months we've been planning our spending instead of letting our money slip away from us. However, during the past 2 months, what with Mother's operation and Catherine's dental work, our medical expenses have been very heavy, more than our budget could provide for. So the question is, where is the money going to come from?
Well, we could take our vacation money.
Oh, no. That's a big thing we've been saving for.
Well, can't we find the money in some other account?
No, not that much money.
Maybe a little bit here and a little bit there.
Well, I don't know.
Look, that new electric mixer we'd figured on buying. I can do without that.
No, Mother. You've been wanting that for so long.
Wait a minute. If Mother can do without her mixer, I'll skip my new dress. That is, if Mother will help me make over the one Aunt Grace gave me.
Of course I will, dear.
Well, if that's the way, I guess we can patch up the old seat covers in the car, put off getting new ones until next spring.
Sure thing. And if I can get a little help with my jobs around here, I'll be able to clear time to pick up some extra money working after...
The trick lies not in having the most have. That's how the Millers are using good home management to achieve a happier family life. Now, do you think they're successful?
Looks good to me.
To help make your home a well-managed home.
Today we're going to see a story about one family and how they lived together. About Tony and his dog Fluffy. About his sister Nancy. About Mother who takes good care of the whole family. And about Father who works hard for his family. Our story begins one afternoon after school. Tony has been outside playing with Fluffy. Now he can hardly wait to get off his boots to tell his mother something. Mother, Mother, he cries, look what the mailman brought, movies of us. Oh, yes, Tony, the pictures Father took. Mother, could we see them tonight? Oh, I'm afraid not, Tony. Dinner will be late tonight, Mother said, because Nancy can't help me. She's taking her music lesson. And after dinner and the dishes, it'll be time for bed. Well, it's too bad not to see the pictures tonight. These are Tony's hooks. Father made this place for wraps so the children can help keep the house neat. It's Tony's job to keep Fluffy's things put away, too. It's time for him to prepare Fluffy's supper. That's another one of his regular jobs. Well, Tony works preparing the dog food just as he does every evening. But he's thinking, oh, late dinner tonight. No chance for fun together before bedtime. But maybe if things go right. Here, Fluffy, Tony calls. Good old Fluffy, want your supper? Stand up for it. But suddenly Tony stops playing. Look at the dirt from Fluffy's muddy paws. And Tony's mother. She, too, is unhappy about those muddy paws because see what Fluffy has done to the clean kitchen floor. My, such a dirty floor. By the time Mother cleans that up, dinner will be even later. Now there'll be no time to see the movies together. Mother is sorry. Oh, that's too bad. What could Tony do? What would you do? Mother, Tony says, if I wipe the floor and help you get dinner the way Nancy does, do you think dinner'd be early enough to see the movies together? Oh, maybe. Tony gets busy right away. Maybe if he does some extra work helping his mother, maybe dinner will not be so late after all. And if Father gets home on time... Then Tony looks at Fluffy's paws and he thinks, wish you wore boots, Fluffy. But I'll wipe your paws anyway so you won't track up the kitchen anymore and make dinner late. Then, as Tony washes his hands, he says, Mother, could I help with dinner? I could shell the rest of the peas. Mother thanks Tony for helping with the floor and brings over the bag of peas. So Tony and his mother are busy getting dinner. Working together is fun, and you get more done. Have you ever done this? Well, the time seems to go fast as Tony and his mother work together. Now, let's look in the dining room to see... Well, here's Nancy, home from her music lesson, and she's setting the table. This is one of her regular jobs. She likes arranging a pretty table for the whole family to enjoy during dinner. Then, before long, the table's all set, ready for dinner. And out in the kitchen, the dinner's all ready to set on the table. And Mother says, we'll be ready to eat as soon as Father comes home. My, I hope he's not late, don't you? And here's Father now, coming home from his daily work. Hello, Nancy, how are you tonight, Father says. Then he calls out, hello, everybody in the kitchen. And oh, is Tony happy. Father's home, dinner's ready. There's time, isn't there, Mother? There's time. Yes, Tony, says Mother. There's time. Hi, look what came, the movies we took, Tony shouts. And Father says, that's fine. Pictures of shoveling snow and what else? Shall we see them after dinner? How soon do we eat? Right now, says Mother, as soon as you're ready. And so they all work together to get dinner on the table. But even though they're thinking about their fun together after dinner, they're not going to hurry through the meal itself. They make sure that everything is on the table in just the right place. They take time to pray together, giving thanks for their meal. Dinner time is happy time for this family. They talk about the good things that happen each day, sharing their fun with each other. Nancy tells us something pleasant that her music teacher said today. Mother says how helpful Tony was this afternoon. Tony tells of a new trick that Fluffy learned. Father tells of helping a man whose hat blew off and went sailing down the windy street. Well, now dinner is finished and Mother and Nancy are working together washing and drying the dishes. Here comes Father with the last things from the table. Tony works with his father, helping him splice in the titles and put the movies in the right order. Well, it's about time to set up the screen. I'll do it, says Tony. Hope Mother and Nancy will be finished soon. Tony hurries with excitement. They are going to see the movies together. The dishes are finished. The dishes are finished. Is everybody set? Ready? Lights. Action. Oh, that's a picture of the first snow of the year about a month ago. Look at Mother sweeping the snow. Cleaning the sidewalk is one of Father's regular jobs, but this time he's taking the pictures. There's Tony shoveling, too. And Nancy helped by chipping the ice off. Yes, work goes fast when the whole family works together. And tonight, it's exciting seeing the pictures. Tony's family does have fun together. Oh, pictures of ice skating. Nancy looks cute in that outfit. And Tony, that's his first pair of real skates. But he does well when Nancy helps him. Don't they skate smoothly together? There's Mother. Isn't it fun to see her on ice skates? She's enjoying it, isn't she? Their neighbor took this movie of the whole family skating down the pond together. My, that was fun, wasn't it? Doing things together is fun. It can be in your family, too, whether it's seeing movies as this family does, or working and playing together in other ways, as other families do. Tony is glad he offered to clean the floor and help with dinner. When everyone does his regular job and helps out by doing extra work, then things go better for the whole family, don't they?
Introducing Mr. Thaddeus K. Smith, a man with a problem. He's always losing something, or so he says. Somebody is always putting things where he can't find them. Why, right this morning, he put an important contract on his desk, along with his hat, his wife's unpaid bills, some new shoelaces, and the morning paper. Why isn't that contract there, he wants to know. Or maybe it is. Look again. Now, young lady, where is that contract? On the desk? Impossible. See, it's not there. Maybe you filed it in the wastebasket. This is outrageous. If that contract isn't in the mail before 4:00, this concern will lose the biggest order it ever had. Well, that's better. Must have gotten mixed up. Yes, something certainly is mixed up, and it's Thaddeus Smith. If you don't believe it, look at this homey little place. You don't need 3 guesses to tell you that this is where the family of Thaddeus K. Smith lives.
An attempt to negotiate an out-of-court settlement of legal difficulties between the couple. The weather forecast for Los Angeles and vicinity, scattered high cloudiness today, tonight, and Thursday, with early morning fog near the coast. Slightly warmer today with a high near 80. And that is the news till now. I'll return at 6 o'clock this evening.
You'd better hurry up, Marjorie. You'll be late for school.
All right, Mother, in a minute.
Mary! Where on earth is my gray suit?
Your gray suit? Isn't it at the cleaner's? I thought you took it there yourself.
Certainly I took it there myself, but that was last week. You mean to tell me no one's gone to get it for me? Oh, well, I'll wear my brown one.
Mother, have you seen my sweater?
It's right there on that chair.
Where?
Well, right here.
Will you hand it to me?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, take it.
Thank you.
Hey, Mom, I can't find my hair oil. Have you seen it?
What did you say?
Hair oil. I can't find it.
It was on the top of your bureau yesterday. Isn't it there now?
No, and I wish people had stopped. Oh, never mind. I found it.
Isn't breakfast ready yet?
In a minute, dear.
No.
Did anybody remember to feed the dog?
No wonder Mr. Smith is in a turmoil most of the time. Now we're going to look in on their neighbors. You see, this is a real home, belonging to the entire family, where every member has a pride of ownership. Good morning. My, but this is a welcome relief. This young lady is getting ready for school, too, but she has her day well planned. She arises in time to straighten up her room, hang up her clothes, and be at breakfast on schedule. Taking care of her room is one of her obligations in this household. Junior has already completed his household chores for the morning, so he can spend some time on his hobby. Notice how his equipment is carefully kept. He won't be searching for a lost spool or hook. There are strict orders in this house for no one to touch this desk, and those orders are respected by all. Yes, this looks like a pretty good way to start things out in the morning. No rush, no fussing. Every member of the family has fulfilled his or her obligations, and each one will go out to the day's work better able to cope with its problems. This is a good time to remind you that you owe another obligation, to your health. A good breakfast is the proper foundation for the activities of a busy day. Sis takes care of that department, making the lunches the night before. It gives her a chance to practice some of the ideas she gets in her homemaking classes. Yes, they're on their way, with a good breakfast, and what's more important, a good disposition. We have seen this family start the day. Now let's see what happens after school. Only 4 o'clock, and he's doing tonight's homework. What's wrong with these two anyway? Do they have to study all afternoon and evening? No, they just want to hear a special broadcast tonight. So they're hard at work, each in his or her room. No outside interference and no radio now. This boy and girl both consider their schoolwork one of their most important obligations to themselves and their family.
Now that their homework is finished and the dinner dishes put away, this boy and girl have ample time to enjoy their favorite programs. Let me repeat, they are enjoying the program. Mother and father are enjoying a bridge game with some friends. One of the principal rules in this house is that a radio or phonograph is heard only in the room in which it is played, so that only those who wish to listen may do so. Well, it looks like that's all for tonight. Forget something? But it's not all for Sis. She's appointed herself chairman of the refreshment committee. This is Mother's and Father's night, and Daughter wants to help them enjoy it. Also, Daughter feels it is one of her obligations to be gracious to her parents' friends. She's glad to help Mother entertain because Mother never fails to help her play hostess to her friends. This is another of Brother's obligations and pleasures. He takes pride in keeping the car clean and shining, and in return, he gets to use it for certain occasions. This is a family car in every sense of the word, so the men of the family do their best to keep it looking like new. And the women of the family don't shirk their cleaning tasks either. Yes, this is a busy day for all concerned. Brother shows his ability as a gardener. Here's another gardener. This particular patch belongs to Sis and to nobody else. She prides herself on her green thumb, which in garden talk means she's a success at growing things. It looks like everything is ready for the weekend. Since these young people have shared in the work and responsibilities of the house, they can also share in the pleasures of entertaining their friends. Say, that's a shame. And she's late for a tennis date, too. How about it, brother? Will you lend her your racket? Well, that's the kind of a brother to have. Sharing personal belongings in this family is a common practice because every member feels an obligation as a borrower to the lender. Yes, Sis takes care of things loaned to her. She knows that Brother would have to pay for a restringing job out of his allowance, and she's going to save him every dime she can. And speaking of money, this family has worked out a program that should please any boy and girl, and at the same time make better citizens out of them. The share of family money given to each one for personal use is divided into 3 parts. Some to save for saving's sake, and there is a steady record of deposits. Some to save for something they want, a new sweater for her wardrobe, perhaps. For Brother, a new trout rod. Then there is some left to spend for amusement, the usual sodas and cokes and picture shows. It's up to brother and sister to decide how much they will allocate for each purpose. They manage their own funds, and in doing so, learn the value of money. In this family, the members have learned to live with each other by understanding their obligations and fulfilling them. They cooperate by making each other's chores as light as possible. They are able to enjoy life more because they have more time for enjoyment and the feeling that tasks assigned to them have been accomplished. They are alert to the problems which confront all of us, and they will be prepared to cope with each problem as it arises. They have a sense of security because they understand the value of money and other material things assigned to their care. This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society. How about going back over what we've seen? Our goal is, obviously, to avoid becoming another case like Mr. Smith, a man whose present sad condition could have been avoided if he had learned when young how to organize his life, how to handle his obligations. A family in a state of perpetual chaos is really just a family which isn't living up to its own responsibilities. What you can do to avoid turning out to be like the Smiths is not so hard. Learn to take care of your own possessions. Keep your own room neat, clean, habitable. It's an obligation you owe your family and yourself. Learn to get up in the morning early enough to have a pleasant, satisfactory meal before the day begins. So you'll start off in good health and good spirits. And while we're at it, we may as well remind you that you'll live most of your life to some sort of a schedule. If you learn to keep that schedule so that it doesn't get ahead of you, you won't mind living by the clock. One of your chief obligations is to pay close attention to your studies during school years. Presumably your parents send you to school to get everything possible out of the experience, not merely to comply with the law. It's your obligation to make the most of school now,